All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. Now, Francis has released some new footage of him training, and scary is the word that I would use. Very scary. Also, that picture that came out where they're all, here's Francis, only a couple, like 6 weeks out from his fight, and he looked like someone injected a gigantic needle and sucked all his muscles out. He's like, if I remember to do it, I'll put it in there. And I remember, I saw that, and I text messaged Markel, his manager. I was like, hey, is Francis okay? Because it's such a weird, and I remember, anybody who has any kind of, I don't know, if you've ever been even moderately vain about your, muscularity, everybody knows that there's this one pose where if you catch yourself in the mirror doing the thing that he was doing, you're like, oh my God, is that what I look like? So I knew that was a really weird picture of Francis, but this footage demonstrates clearly Francis is still Francis. He's all the way full. He's huge. He's huge. And if you get hit by him, you're going to go to sleep. There are no changes there. But anyway, let's actually just watch this really quick, and then we will talk about what it means. Here we go. Boom.
UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou.
Obviously, this was from
his
MMA
former
Talk,
teammate Cyril
which I
Gane
watch
at UFC 270 on January 22nd. On Friday, Ngannou posted new training
Look at him,
footage
dude.
as he prepares for the fight.
He's huge. Look at how tired he is, first of all.
All out now, 30 seconds, let's go. All out now.
Oh. Oh my God. Imagine being under that. Dude, you'd break your face. I mean, every single one of those would break the skull of a regular sized person. Those elbows break your face. Oh. Oh my gosh. There's Eric. Oh my God, man. He's so tired and just still just going. Oh my gosh, dude. Eric's such a fucking badass coach, man. All right, that's good. All right, so here's the deal. The first thing that I want to just talk about right there is this, okay? And I DM'd Eric about it right after I watched it. So that first sequence when Francis is dropping elbow, he traps the arm, he's throwing punches, and then he's just dropping elbows on the first dummy. The thing that I noticed, okay, so when the clip starts, he stops and takes a quick breath, right? Like he's going, he's like, and then boom, boom, then just keeps going and going and going. Now, obviously, if you know what you're looking at, this is not educational to anyone. What you're looking at is you're looking at a fighter that's at the tail end of a very long sequence, probably the tail end of a long practice. He's fucking exhausted. He's exhausted right there. And the reason that it's notable is because at the end of that sequence, right? So if you guys ever trained in an environment like that, when you hear the beep, that's the end of the round, right? Or the end of the sequence that you guys are doing, whether you're, sparring or if you're, doing any kind of drill or whatever, you go until you hear the beep. Now, me personally, in a situation like that, if I'm that tired, which happens basically every single time I train, but I hear the beep, I'm one of the guys that the second it goes, I'll push all the way through it, I make it very obvious that I'm tired because I'm a dramatic pussy, but I'm and then the second it goes beep, I just go, I'll roll over on my back and shit. Francis, okay, exhausted, and it's me, and he and he throws 3 more and then stops. Now that is very subtle. It's very subtle to me, and maybe I don't know, maybe the professionals, maybe for guys who are pros, they're oh yeah, well, we all do that. But to me, and maybe that's how they become pros, but to me, I watch it, I'm like, damn, dude, that's crazy. Because the reason you need a trainer, the reason you have to have a trainer is so that they can push you, right? They need to push you. Because like no people, you can't like push yourself. Like even if you think about like, just think about like a regular like in anything. Like think about jiu-jitsu practice as an example, right? Like if you don't have the professor who's like, okay, we're doing another round. Like you almost always will go longer than you would if there wasn't someone that was facilitating, how long you're going to be rolling for or whatever. Or like in training like this, it's like, we're going another round. You're like, oh my God. If you were just there by yourself, you're like, oh. And so that buzzer is the thing that's pushing you. Now, if you go past the buzzer, even for a second, it says a lot about the mental, the mindset of the person. Like Gaethje, I guarantee you has gone past every single one of those that's ever happened. Like I guarantee, if I was gonna guess on Gaethje, if he's in like a group setting, the buzzer would go off, and if he's thinking about it, he'll just keep going until the last other person stops. Like he'd turn and make sure everyone else is quit before him. And like, those are just like, that's the kind of stuff that interests me about fighting and about training and all that stuff, is like that kind of shit. The fights are awesome, of course, but what the fights are is the culmination of all of that work and the mindset and what it takes to get themselves so finely tuned that they end up in the octagon with another guy, who's been doing something similar. But, listen, like I've made no secret about this. There is no one that I am more emotionally tied to as it relates to their career than Francis, for a multitude of reasons. And so I'm very bullish on his prospects in this fight. I really am. But Cyril's he's a killer. I mean, look, like no matter how you slice it, this is the matchup. I can't stress this enough. Like this is the matchup. This is the biggest fight you're ever going to see, with more on the line in this fight than you could possibly imagine. But if you really think about it, like if you know that one of the things Francis is looking at is boxing, and he's fighting the best striker that he's ever fought in the UFC, if he can win that fight and then somehow end up in, free agent, I know the champ clause is a little bit complicated. I don't need to get into it. But like, I mean, look, like I could say this. There is a scenario where even if he wins, it's the last fight in the UFC. There just is, And so like, if this can be his last fight and he's able to knock out, Cyril in any capacity. I mean, even if he takes him down, like whatever. Bottom line though, if he wins by devastating fashion, it sets him up for riches beyond. I mean, it just is what it is, man. Everybody's going to buy that boxing match, dude. Everyone will buy it. But anyway, but like I said, I mean, look, I would love to see him come back and fight John Jones also. Like, I would love to see Francis fight John Jones. Like, love it. I wouldn't sleep for a week before that fight. I also wouldn't sleep before a Tyson Fury fight. Deontay Wilder even, Anthony Joshua, any of those would be amazing. But anyway, that's what I got. Subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell. Peace.